There's a lot that can be said about the Disney Plus Marvel series, and most of it is good things. Admittedly, many were skeptical about what these series would be like, especially after 2020 ruined a lot of hopes by getting them all delayed. But once they started coming out, they hit a lot more than they missed. What's more, they showed off characters that you wouldn't have expected to get their own series. And more are on the way in that vein. Arguably, one of the biggest risks of the bunch is that of Moon Knight, starring Oscar Isaac. Allow us to show you everything we know so far about Moon Knight. Number 6. Who is Moon Knight? One of the reasons we said that Moon Knight was the biggest risk of the MCU Disney Plus series is that, above all else, this is a character that a lot of people don't know. Those who watched the MCU knew about Wanda and Vision. They just didn't know what their series was going to be about. Everyone knew Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, and yes, Hawkeye. Even What If dealt with familiar characters, just in different settings. Moon Knight, though, is a deep cut, and not one who is popular in the mainstream. So let's give you a rather basic look at who the Moon Knight is in the comics. In short, his name is Mark Spector, an ex-mercenary / superhero whom the ancient Egyptian god Khonshu revives after death. Suffering from dissociative identity disorder, Spector's other non-costume personalities include rich playboy Stephen Grant and taxi driver Jake Lockley. He's been referred to by many as the crazier version of Batman, and Marvel has played with that over time. However, he is very dedicated, like Batman, to his job, as well as Khonshu. For example, in a recent comics arc, his god, who is real despite some people saying otherwise, said that they needed to take down the Avengers in order to fight the real threat of Mephisto. Yes, the real Mephisto. Stupid WandaVision teases. And he did that in surprisingly detailed fashion. Even being able to summon the freaking Phoenix Force. No X-Men movie jokes, please. To fight Thor. He's an incredibly capable fighter, and is gutsy due to his split personalities, and thus able to be on various teams for various missions. Steve Rogers himself even recruited him to be a part of his Secret Avengers once. And of course, with him being connected to the Egyptian gods via Khonshu, he's got a lot of mythology to deal with that many other Avengers or Marvel characters don't have to think about. So you can see why being crazy honestly helps him in this case. Number 5. Release date. Moon Knight will launch on Disney Plus on Wednesday, March 30th. It'll follow previous MCU TV shows including Loki, What If, and Hawkeye in receiving a midweek release. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige told journalists at a WandaVision press day via Collider in January that Moon Knight will run for 6 episodes too. That means that the series' final episode will arrive on May 11th, 5 days after Doctor Strange 2 will exclusively launch in theaters. Coincidence? Maybe, it's hard to tell at this point. Each episode is expected to last between 40 to 50 minutes, which has become the standard episodic runtime for MCU TV shows. Mohamed Diab, Cairo 678, is supposedly directing 4 of those entries, with directing partners Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, The Twilight Zone, Synchronic, handling the other 2. There are also rumors about George Clooney maybe helming one of these. We don't know, but wouldn't that be cool? Number 4. The first trailer. Moon Knight's first trailer was released on January 17th and gave us our best look at the mysterious MCU TV show yet. And what a look it was! The video opens on Oscar Isaac's Stephen Grant / Mark Spector, a former mercenary who has dissociative identity disorder, DID, a condition that means he has multiple personalities, as we noted earlier. Grant / Spector is struggling to sleep and says that he can't tell the difference between real life and dreams. Ordinarily, you'd expect his sleep issues to be a result of his DID condition. But as the trailer progresses, and in true Marvel fashion, it's clear that there's something bigger at play here. The rest of the Moon Knight trailer is, to be frank, a wild and surreal ride. We see Grant / Spector pursued by an individual that we believe to be Khonshu, which means that they're definitely leaning into the mythology of the comics here, even though it's very much a Vision kind of thing at first. We also find out that Ethan Hawke is playing a cult leader-style villain called Arthur Harrow. We learn that Grant / Spector doesn't realize that he's a superpowered individual or that he has multiple identities. And we get a glimpse of just how strong Moon Knight is. The anti-hero pummeling what appears to be a werewolf or ancient Egyptian jackal in a museum's public bathroom. Not to mention, we get a freaking awesome look at the Moonlight costume, and how Grant/Spectre summons it. And the MCU again nails the look of things. Number 3. The main actors. As if we needed proof that the MCU's Disney Plus shows are just as big of a deal as the movies, Marvel has lined up a genuine silver screen star to lead the Moon Knight cast. Oscar Isaac, star of the latest Star Wars trilogy, and Denis Villeneuve's Dune. Isaac will play Moon Knight, as well as Grant, Spectre, and any other of the characters' multiple personas. Hawk, meanwhile, was only known to be playing an unnamed villain until the show's first teaser dropped online. Thanks to the subtitles on the YouTube version of the trailer, we've learned that he's playing a character called Arthur Harrow. In the comics, Harrow is a bit part villain who only appears in one issue, April 1985's Moon Knight #2, as a scientist who conducts experiments on human subjects to learn how to permanently eliminate people's pain. Here, though, Harrow has been reworked as something of a cult leader, with Hawk telling The Seth Meyers Show, via The Hollywood Reporter, "I've based my character on David Koresh, i.e. the leader of the Branch Davidian cult responsible for the Waco siege in 1993. It seems that Harrow wants to help people unlock their true potential. We see him telling Grant/Spectre to unleash their chaos in the trailer, so it's a distinct possibility. And many people think that his character is actually a sleight of hand, that Marvel has done many times in their movies and shows, to hide his identity as a character who was actually tied to the Egyptian sun god, which would obviously make him an antagonist to Khonshu and Moon Knight. Number 2. The Synopsis. Here's the official synopsis for Marvel Studios' Moon Knight, as described on Marvel.com. The series follows Stephen Grant, Isaac, a mild-mannered gift shop employee, who becomes plagued with blackouts and memories of another life. Stephen discovers he has dissociative identity disorder, DID, and shares a body with the mercenary Mark Spector. As Stephen/Mark's enemies converge upon them, they must navigate their complex identities, while thrust into a deadly mystery among the powerful gods of Egypt. Meanwhile, Disney's official summary, via Deadline, described Moon Knight as a new globe-trotting action-adventure series featuring a complex vigilante who suffers from dissociative identity disorder, DID. The multiple identities who live inside him find themselves thrust into a deadly war of the gods against the backdrop of modern and ancient Egypt. Neither of those provide much in the way of story threads, and given the rather mysterious nature of the trailer, things are only going to get crazier as we go down this rabbit hole. Especially since a lot of the supporting cast hasn't been teased, just the main players. Number 1. A Twisted Journey. The MCU has provided us with all kinds of journeys in the past, but Moon Knight might just be one of the most unique of the bunch. And since it only has 6 episodes to get us into the minds of the main character and showcase what his part of the MCU is about, things might not be what you're expecting. That right there might just be why so many are interested in seeing what this show is about, because Moon Knight is an anti-hero that makes even the Punisher nervous at times. Though he won't admit it, they just tell really bad jokes to one another. So how he'll be portrayed in the series is going to be huge. We'll find out at the end of March what the dark side of this Moon Knight is like. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at Moon Knight and everything we know about it so far? Do you think that this series is going to shock a lot of people by not just its action, but the deep story that it's aiming to tell? Do you feel that people are going to resonate with this character once the episodes start to come out? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time on the channel.